We will not, the Regina Police Service will not ever conduct an investigation based on interpretation of a person's lifestyle, race, gender. The bias like that won't find itself into an investigation. So mistakes were made, delays happened in 2 or 3 different instances, but it wasn't because of the person. Yeah. It was because of some process pieces on our end as a service, but you know, just through the course of the investigation.
How can you say that so confidently? I mean, just given human nature, people, everything we do is influenced by our biases.
Yeah.
So how can you say that so confidently?
Just because I know how investigations happen, I know how investigations unfold, and I know the rigor around which Major Crimes, for example, does investigations, and we do major crime, homicide, suspicious death investigations all the time. And I mean, we've never seen it creep into an investigation. We have no reason to believe it does. I've spoken to the investigators in this case. I am speaking with confidence. I speak with confidence when I say that mistakes and omissions happened in the investigation, and it wasn't perfect. But I don't believe for a second that it was because of the person that was the victim in this case.
This is my first time seeing this video. I really wish that he would have came to my family and spoken with my family before going to the media and telling them everything that's being said in this interview. I mean, I didn't even know this interview happened.
He said that he doesn't believe there is anyone else responsible for Nadine's death. What's your response to that?
From someone who says that they don't have intimate details about the investigation, I don't think that's a fair judgment to make. The 60-hour delay doesn't excuse 10 months of hotel records, 6 months to toxicology, like just the delays that happened along the way. A 60 hours doesn't excuse all of that.
The police chief admits there were errors, but the feeling of the police force seems to be that if the investigation had been handled without those errors, the same conclusion would have been drawn. What's your response to that?
I guess if you're looking at it from a bias perspective and all you see is a woman, I mean, there was a lot of emphasis on the drugs that were found beside her. Clearly anybody, I could understand why they would have went with accidental, because it's an easy investigation to say, oh, we found somebody laying on the floor with a pill bottle beside them. Case closed. It's so much easier to rule out an accident than to actually dig hard and do investigative work and actually find out more information about the circumstances.
And the jury says through the inquest that it's unknown.
Exactly.
How do you get to a point of knowing more? What do you do next?
I think at this point, because of all the questions that still remain, I think that I would like to see a review of how the investigation was handled to initially begin with. I would like to see that being addressed. If they really wanted to dig into more evidence, they could get that information. There's always a paper trail. Like, I don't know why there would, like, I just can't fathom my head around how they could not find a paper trail from credit cards to hotel guests to just things like that. It's frustrating. All these other errors are showing up and popping out. It's like maybe the inquest, and maybe I may never know what happened to Nadine, but it just raises more concerns ultimately within the justice system.
What are some of the other concerns that are coming up in light of the inquest?
Well, it makes me question this investigation in particular with my niece and what I had to go through. I can relate to missing and murdered Indigenous families who have experienced this, who have experienced frustrations with investigations and the manner in which they're handled. And so it's frustrating.
Well,
the fact that...
So I guess
right after the inquest that he's initially saying that there's going to be no investigation into this. I think that's frustrating. And yeah, I think if there's not if there's not a reopening into Nadine's investigation, I think we can investigate into how this case was handled and bring that to light if that's the situation, if that's what it comes to. I mean, I want to get to the bottom of this.